Hello guys and welcome to this video. So today we're going to be looking at the altered scale. We're going to be explaining the altered scale, we're going to be looking at language, and we're also going to be looking at applications for the scale that sometimes aren't so obvious. So if that sounds like something of interest, please support me by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. But anyway, let's get into it. So the altered scale is usually used over a 5-1 progression, so A altered to D minor, or A altered to D major. Okay, so what is the altered scale? So the altered scale is the last mode of the melodic minor. So the 7th mode of the melodic minor. It's also sometimes called the super Locrian scale. So if we're going to play it from A, we'll get this sound. Okay, so rather than thinking about the degrees of the scale in the altered scale, because the altered scale you start on the root and then everything else is flattened. So you've got flat 2, flat 3, flat 4, flat 5, flat 6 and flat 7. Rather than thinking of all that, most people just think about it in relation to the melodic minor, a semitone above the root of the chord. So if you've got A7 altered, they'll be thinking about B flat melodic minor, which in relation to A is our super Locrian scale. So the reason that works is because we said that the altered scale is the 7th mode of the melodic minor scale. So what we need to do, we need to find a melodic minor scale which A is the 7th note of. And if we take our B flat melodic minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, A is our 7th degree. So we can play B flat melodic minor and we'll be playing essentially over an A altered chord. It'll be the A altered scale. So that is the way that I visualize the scale, and many other players. It's all a little bit too much to think about if you're thinking about flattening every degree. So it's far easier to visualize just by thinking about the melodic minor, which is the major scale with a flattened third, a semitone above the root. So I visualize all the degrees in relation to that. However, I hear the chord tones in relation to the root, our A7 altered chord. So that's the trick about visualizing it in relation to B flat, but hearing it in relation to A. Okay? So that is essentially the altered scale. That's all that's going on. So let's have a look at some language using the scale. So we can use the scale in a more traditional jazz context, and we can also use it in a more fusion context, or a little bit less conventional way. So I'll demonstrate both of these. So first of all, let's have a look at a very simple idea that just is based around playing the B flat melodic minor scale going down, or the A altered scale. Okay. I just went down the scale from our minor third of the B flat melodic minor, skip to our minor third. Okay, so there's one idea. All of these ideas will be transcribed on Patreon, and I will put up the tab for one of the later ideas when they get a little bit more complicated. So here's another example of a similar idea. Okay, pretty much just the melodic minor scale going down. Well, I'm seeing it's the melodic minor scale, but obviously it's the A altered scale. It's just going down, skipping out some notes. So you can also build ideas around the triads. Let's say our B flat minor triad. So that's a very jazzy idea. Here's another one using a B flat minor triad. We could do that same idea with a triplet. Okay, these are all very common sounds used in jazz. We can also incorporate enclosures into these ideas. So all an enclosure is playing above and below the target note. It could be chromatically or it could be within the scale. For example, okay, I played a chromatic note above it and a chromatic note below and then resolved to the B flat. So we can incorporate these sounds. So these are all very traditional ways of using the altered scale in a jazz context. So we can also incorporate wider intervals into our lines, and this may make our lines a little bit less conventional. Okay, so I'll include the tab for that idea, as it may be a little bit harder to figure out what's going on, but essentially I'm just using notes from the A altered scale or the B flat melodic minor scale, and it's just resolving from our A7 altered chord to our D minor again. I'm just juggling around the notes in a way that you hear less often. So essentially that's all that's going on. It's not that confusing, it's just at first our ears are not necessarily used to hearing it, so we just need to get used to hearing it and being able to see it on the fretboard. So you already know if you've got an altered chord which resolves to 1, either minor or major, we can always use our altered scale. However, there are many instances in jazz standards and other forms of music where you can incorporate the altered scale even if it doesn't indicate an altered chord on the chart. So if we take a song like All the Things You Are, you'll see we've got the first chord is F minor, second chord is B flat minor, and we've got E flat 7, A flat 7, and then our D flat 7, and the song continues. But if you look at it, you'll realize that the F chord, F minor, is the 5 of the next chord, which is our B flat. The B flat is the 5 of our E dominant chord. The E dominant chord is the 5 of our A flat chord, and the A flat is the 5 of the D flat chord. So because of that, we can treat all of these chords as altered chords. So I'm going to play half a measure of the original chord, and then I'm going to change it to an altered chord. F minor, F altered, B flat altered, E flat altered, A flat altered, and then resolving to our D flat. So you see, adding in these altered chords really leads nicely to the next chord, even though the chart doesn't necessarily indicate it. We just need to understand the function of each chord and understand that it functions as a 5 chord that leads to the next chord in the sequence. So just as we can use it within our comping, we can also use it in our lines. Okay, so there, I was just outlining the chords. So we can also be a little bit more sparing with our use of the altered scale and choose to use it to lead to certain chords and not to others. So maybe we'll use it on the first chord, start on F minor 7 and then go F altered, then maybe not use it on the next chord, then maybe use it on the next chord, and maybe not use it on the next chord. So okay, so there I used it on the F minor chord, I went F minor, F altered, I didn't use it on the B flat chord, then I used it, I went E flat 7 and then E flat altered, and then I didn't use it on the A flat chord to resolve to D flat there. So it's just about getting the sound into your system and getting free with the sound and understanding when you can use it. And a lot of this will depend on you being able to hear it. So I'd recommend, first of all, you just getting comfortable with the sound and just looking for, say, an altered backing track or a 5 altered backing track that resolves to 1, and just getting really comfortable using the altered scale. And then once you've got comfortable with it, I would recommend you start applying it to some songs, as you'll find in so many songs you get to throw this in. It's just a really nice little tension color. In jazz, it's just such an important foundation to be able to highlight those altered tensions. So it's a really useful one to adopt, and it sounds great in fusion and so many different contexts. But anyway, as always, I'll be transcribing all these ideas for my Patreon subscribers over there. So thanks for your support over there, guys, and There are lots of lessons over there, so please consider supporting me over there. Obviously, I'm available for private lessons, so please contact me through the links in the description if you'd like a little bit more hands-on help. And for a deeper look at the melodic minor scale and all its modes, the harmonic minor, double harmonic, harmonic major, Messiaen modes, jazz scales, all of that is in my book, Outside Secrets, which is available through my website. So if you'd like to go deeper into these ideas, then please consider having a look at that. But thanks very much, guys. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you very shortly for another video.